way too high. Good evening. Good evening. Lower that. There we go. Just me. The other one's busy in the kitchen doing something. Who knows what she's doing half the times, you know. She's a big shot. She doesn't need to do these anymore when she feels like it. Hello, Teresa, David, Deb, Lauren. I saw Celine up there too. Anna, how are you? How's everyone doing? I saw Sharon in there. Hello, Sharon. Starting a little late tonight. Just got back from watching Joker 2. Don't waste your money. It is god awful. I mean, horrible. Horrible. I loved the Joker movie. I thought the first one was fantastic. And this one was the exact opposite, just horrible. So if you go see it and you spend your money, I warned you, it sucks. And it sucks bad. So we went with my son, and it was just awful, awful, awful movie. They even ruined the first one by making this one. It makes the first one bad because they undo all of the good stuff about the first one. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to tell you anything other than if you enjoyed the first one, you are going to hate this one. You're going to hate it. So anyway, that's where we were. So we were a little late getting back. First one was great. First one wasn't good. The first one was great. Joaquin was amazing in the first one. I walked out of that first one so surprised. That's why I plucked down $50 to go see this for Chris and my son. And I had such high hopes, but the reviews were coming in on YouTube and none of them were good. But I said, I'm going to hold that hope, even though I heard there was a lot of musical stuff in there. And like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but I did hear there was a lot of musical stuff in there. But I still said, same director, Joaquin Phoenix, not a big Lady Gaga fan, but it was awful. Start to finish, awful. So if you like the first one, I guarantee you're not going to like this one. Guaranteed. I mean, it was just, we went to the very first showing too. And there was one showing before us, but I hadn't let out yet. And I wanted to see what the reaction was, but bad. It's not going to make any money. It really isn't. It's going to be a total flop. But anyway, you may go see it and think totally different, but I love that first movie, and he's not even the Joker in this one. I mean, anyway, I'm not going to keep going. Anyway, so we did that today, and so we were late getting back. Yesterday, we had a very long meeting with another historic society and another old building that I mentioned, field hospital for the Revolutionary War. We met with them for several hours. We were probably there for 3 hours just talking. And, it's really different with a lot of these sites from one to the other because some of them have boards that consist of several members. Hey, Luann. Some of them have boards that only have a few members. Some of them have boards that have half the members are at least interested in the paranormal, and then there's 2 or 3 that just hate it and don't like the idea of doing anything like that. Some of them are really into it and have had other groups there before, and this was sort of a group that was interested in the paranormal, claims things are happening there, and really nice people. And we were with them, like I said, for quite a while, just talking about a lot of different things. So the next step is to go over there and investigate it in a kind of a tough spot because it's on a busy road. So, those buildings are kind of hard to do what we need to do. So we are going to go in at some point, probably November-ish, to investigate it, to see what we can see. but really nice people. The building is very old, and again, the rumor is it was used as a field hospital um, during the Revolutionary War. So it's worth a look because they've seen things and they've heard things. So worth a look. But yeah, street's a bit of a concern to me that it's a busy road, and that limits. Ideally, you would like a building that has no limits. Ideally, the perfect building would be on the middle of a gravel road, a mile off the main road, where you're not around anything and anyone. But it just doesn't work that way with a lot of these buildings. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Lewis, how you doing? Kathy, other Kathy, how are you? Kathy with a C, Kathy with a K. It was a good meeting, and we'll, like I said, we'll work it out to where we can get there. This weekend is a very, very busy weekend where we're at the Caldwell Parsonage tomorrow for who's ever coming there. We'll see you tomorrow. There's going to be two different groups, two different sessions. So after I finish this, uh, that part of the living room will be completely filled with gadgets being plugged in and batteries all over the place, plugging in and getting ready for tomorrow, just to come home tomorrow night and have to do that all over again for Saturday. Lucky me. Um, and then Saturday is the Barron Arts Center. Um, Again, first and only time this year. We're contemplating a fundraiser there, maybe in December, but I don't know if we can work that out. Um, we really could use the funds for additional equipment and batteries, because batteries are just this time of the year. If I showed you the pile of batteries, and because you don't want to go into any event with old batteries, because if the batteries are dying, you get false positives. The equipment will just go off for no reason. You want new, fresh batteries so that if things are going off and things are reacting, you want to know you have new batteries in there. It's not the battery dying that's making the trip wires go off or any detectors go off. You got to change the batteries every time. And we do that, and that costs money, changing all those batteries. Hello, Heather. Patricia, how are you? So Saturday's Barron Arts Center. Looking forward to getting back in there again. And Sunday is the piece that we're doing with Weekend Filler, Philadelphia news station. We did one before COVID, and we're going to do another one. So we have an event Friday night, we have an event Saturday night, and then we have to drive all the way to Smith Cadbury. They're going to feature that building. They're going to do two segments. They're going to feature that building historically, tell about the history of the Smith Cadbury, and then the next segment's going to be interviewing each one of us, and they want to do a segment on the equipment too. So we got to drive all the way up there and be there by 12 on Sunday. So, woofa, that is that's a busy weekend. And now we're scheduling for maybe Tuesday night, and this is going to be live. Finally going to that German club in Dover. I think it's in Dover. We're gonna go there, see if we can't get that done on Tuesday night and do that live. So that should be Smith Cadbury. We'll be there Sunday. Again, they're going to feature the building. So the piece you'll see will be two separate pieces. You'll see the history of the Smith Cadbury Museum, the mansion, in one piece, and then you'll see us in that building doing our piece as well, which again should be really interesting. Yeah, the schedule is nuts, and I missed a very important call today because my schedule is so nuts. And the expo is like a freight train. There's so many things to do before November 1st that you get a little nervous this time of the year because all of the October stuff is happening, and then we have this huge convention that we have to make sure everything is set for. Right after Halloween is the convention. So it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. So we're balancing everything best we can. And, and then we just were asked to do another library lecture today. Um, Another library down in northern Jersey, Parsippany-ish area, asked about us coming there to do a lecture in October. So it's like, do we want to do that? I do, but eesh, it's so much. And it's the library lectures are during the week, and then the events are on the weekends. And next weekend we have Friday and Saturday as well. We have the Jawan Mass event at Camp Evans, and then Saturday. Where are we on Saturday? Where are we on Saturday?
There.
No, next Saturday. I think that's the mine. No, it's not the mine.
Centenary?
It might be Centenary. Not sure. I don't know. Again, that's how much I don't know about our schedule because it's all over the place. I know we have Friday and Saturday next week too. Oh, there's my co-star just went walking by. Just missed her. So crazy. I mean, it's fun. It's going to go by in a blink. Oh, you're right. Smith Cadbury. Smith Cadbury is next Saturday. Thank you, Nicole. That's Smith Cadbury. Just talking about them, and that's going to be Saturday. So first time ever there with people, which should be. We'll see what happens there. I don't know what time there. I think tomorrow the first session is from 6:30 to 8:30, and the next session is 9 to 11. I'm pretty sure that's the times for tomorrow. So there's two different 2-hour sessions tomorrow. So that's another thing. And there literally is no break in between it because we're getting people out the door from one session and they're talking and asking questions. And then, the next group comes in. So should be fun. Gloria, yeah, that's on the 27th, I believe. And I will, for anybody who's part of that, who I reached out, again, it's something I've got to get to, and I will get to it. I'll send you the address. I'll send you the hours. I think she said it's 10 to 4 or 10 to 2. I got to look it up on my instant messages, but that's a whole nother thing that I'm looking forward to that we're going to do together. So it's going to be a crazy month. And again, that literally leads right into the convention. So I exhale after the expo and get to relax a little bit and enjoy the events after that, knowing October is done, knowing that the expo is done, and now we're just doing, one in November, couple in December, and we're done. But leading up to the expo is going to be just madness. That's why I kind of squeezed in a creeper gallery this week. Because I know it's going to be tough, and I see, the new objects that Donna just brought in. I look at her website, and the Facebook, just social media, like everyone else, and I see the new stuff. So that's why I went this week, even though Chris wasn't up for it. I figured let me go in there and try to find 2 objects that I hadn't done before, and I always had a feeling about the photo of the little boy and the little girl. Just give me a vibe when I first saw it, and it's been there for a while. First on the floor, now she has it on the wall. And at first I was going to do this box that had the photo of a man, a little Bible. I think there was a shaving kit or something. I was going to do that. And the, what was the other thing I did? I don't even remember. That's how bad my memory is. What was the other object I did? I did the photo and the book. The book. The book. I read the thing and I saw that it, depression, anger. So I was like, that I'm going to do just to see what happens. And I was going to do, like I said, the box with the objects that belong to the man in the picture. But then I looked up and I saw that photo again. I saw that little boy and a little girl, and I went, yeah, I'm gonna do that instead. I like the idea of doing that instead. But here's the thing. any building, any object, anything you do, there are no guarantees. And that's what we were talking with the people yesterday in the building that we were at. Um, they were talking about other groups that they had in, and one group, one night they had a lot of stuff, and the next night, wasn't much of anything. And that's the way it is. Same thing with objects. We've done objects where we got absolutely nothing the first time. Um, and then the second time they were more active. So, or second time we didn't get anything either. There's just no guarantees. You do the same process, you go through the same method, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, that's the nature of what we do and how we do it. There are no guarantees whatsoever. And that's what, again, we were talking about that last night. I don't care. You name the building, you name it. Name the building, the most haunted building you could think of. And I guarantee you there's not activity there all the time, every night with every group. There's it just doesn't happen for some or on certain nights. Who knows why? It's weird because you kind of feel the energy when it's going to be really active, and then you feel when it's going to be a little bit of a work. Hello, Christine, and with those two objects, it felt like maybe it was going to be work. I knew it from the beginning with the picture, like, okay, it's going to be one of those nights where maybe the coolest thing that happened was when those lights fell down. I mean, I love that. And again, it didn't scare me. If somebody else was there, they probably would have been running down Main Street, heading towards the bridge. Someone, we won't mention names, but that person would have been out of the building and running towards Lambertville. But I stayed there and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I wanted more of that because that's real good activity. When they're able to move things and shift things, that's when you really start pressing a little more and try to get, more of that out of them if they're capable of that. So freaked me out a little when it happened, but I loved it. I was waiting for more of that. I really was. You start looking at the shelves around you saying, okay, what's on that shelf? Because from where I sit right across from me, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but at the one event we brought the thing that holds the champagne bottle. That thing's pretty heavy. It's got some weight to it. And that's on the shelf across from where I sit on the floor. I mean, it's a good distance, but if anything gave that a good push, that could probably come down and hit me in the leg, So you look around and there's stuff on the shelves up on top of me too. Those little statues and stuff up there. So I always wonder if any of that's going to happen. I know it would make for a great video, but I'm sure it won't be a whole lot of fun if I got hit in the head or something. It'd make for a good video though. That's for sure. I won't mind it. I'd do it for the sake of the investigation, But yeah, I know Chris would have been like, oh, and then so it's a shame she missed that. But like I said, she picks and chooses her investigations and her appearances, as you can see, as I sit here by myself. Right? Huh? What? I said you pick and choose your appearances. Only because I'm working. There you go. Only because she's working. But anyway, again, in that German club, I can't remember the name of it. And if I try to say it, I'm going to say it wrong. I know I am. And Carl, if you're on, you could say it. But that's another one where it's going to be a little bit of controversial, if there is such a thing, because the club has been around for a long time. And there are people who've commented on our post, even when we showed the video of us touring it, that said we've been members for a long time. We've been in that club for years. My family was part of that club, and we never had anything happen. And then there was others who were like, yeah, I always thought there might be something there. And others, we saw stuff in the basement. Carl told me they saw something just after they had some kind of meeting. They saw some stuff downstairs. So I just can't wait for you to see the downstairs room on video. That alone will be worth watching because it's such an odd meeting room. There's like knights, like outfits. Um, you have to see it. I can't even describe it. You'll see when we get in there. The historical site building, like back to the site, the construction guy saw the dead woman's spirit came for a meeting. That was the Van Horn. That was that building, and that's kind of the discussion that we were having yesterday with the people from this building. Um, the building was in the area, a lot of in places in Jersey, where of course the Revolutionary War, the battles, a lot of the battles were fought in different areas of New Jersey. Um, this again was one of those areas, and they do believe the building was used as a field hospital, but um, the directors, the members of the board, want to focus more on the families that live there, which understandably because they feel like those are the spirits that they interacted with in the house. So I have no issue with doing that whatsoever. My only issue is that if during the course of our investigation or bringing people in there, um, if you Google this building, Revolutionary War is going to come. A battle's going to come up, and a lot of people, died during that battle. And if it was used as a field hospital, obviously soldiers may have died there as well. It's going to come up. I told her I'm going to bring it up. So, um, if someone were present or channeled in through those conversations and those mentions of those battles, and um, it could be not malicious, but it could be upset. Um, Someone who remembers something painful, um, someone who remembers being hurt. Not everything is going to be. This is Sally Smith, and this was her bedroom, and Sally Smith lived here from 1910 to 1950. And Sally was a good person, great in the community, and went, a leader of the church, and yeah, she could come through for sure. But so can that other stuff. If we really start opening up those doors and somebody starts asking questions, or you never know. And that's all I was kind of preparing them for, to make sure that they were okay with that. So the way this one's going to work is that um, we're not going to do it live. We're going to go in there and we're going to investigate, and they're going to be present, and we're going to do it the way we do it. And if they're happy with that, then I'm sure they would consider doing fundraising events. If they don't, no hard feelings. Find another team that you're comfortable with, and move forward with that. I prefer to be totally honest with the way we do things, and what the approach is going to be. Um, so I mention all those things up front because yes, you know, ideally, and I'll take Liberty Hall for example. Um, Liberty Hall doesn't have any bad spirits. There are no malicious, malevolent, I can't say the word, spirits there. There's nothing bad there. There isn't. But Captain John he rules the roost. He's the dominant spirit in that building. And sometimes Captain John isn't always in the best mood. And he'll let you know on the recorder, or stuff like that. And there's others, we believe, servants that work there, that were in servants' quarters, which were above the stables. And in the winter, it was cold up there. And in the summer, it was hot up there. And, these people, may have had good lives or stuff, but their job was tough, and their living conditions were kind of tough, and the family may have treated them great, and they probably did. But you're gonna come across some who just, aren't happy all the time. These were people, and that's what I was trying to explain yesterday too during the meeting. Um, these are people, and they react the way people would react to different people in different situations and different questions and different vibes they get off of other people. It's unpredictable. The you just again, if you're basing it on the experiences that you're having in that building, being there all the time, and the spirits are being so familiar with you, then you can't expect that it's going to be the same for strangers who are coming in and asking questions and trying to get answers. So I try to convey that because uh, my line is always the same, whether it's an event, whether it's an object, whether it's one of these historic locations or not. Um, I have no control of what comes out. Whatever comes out, comes out. That's it, period. Believe me, we've been in buildings where stuff has come out and I cringe because I go, oh my God, you know, well, hopefully wait till the people hear about this thing, what this spirit is saying. And I say to myself, okay, but it's not as if I have pre-recorded things that I'm playing. These are things that just come out, and whatever happens, happens. That's why with this specific location, I don't want to do it live because I'd rather sit down with them, let them feel comfortable with us. So we spent a lot of time with them, and they're really good people, and they're really protective of the location because they put their heart and soul into it, and they keep it going, and they give a lot of time to the location, and I want to make sure that they sit with us, and if they're uncomfortable in the beginning, in the middle, the end, they just say, okay, you know what, really not our style, because for me, when you start, again, I don't mean to offend anybody, when you start talking about dowsing rods and all that, you lose me. You really do. You lose me because I'm sorry, I don't find that being much in the way of validating or real evidence of any kind. I really don't. I know they can be manipulated. I've seen them manipulated. Um, so for me, it's like no different than if I was to walk you into an area that I knew there was a junction box or a panel, and have you walk over there with your K2 meter and see it go nuts and go, oh my God, there's a spirit right near you. Oh my God. I can manipulate that. I know I can. And I know where and I know how. If you don't, then you're going to fall for the trick. I think dowsing rods are a gimmick. I really do. I'm sorry. Like I said, I make no bones about what I believe and how I feel about things. I was with your friends last week, Lord Ezeron. They came to the UK. Satacom was brilliant. Oh, Colette, haven't heard from you in forever and a day. Where you been? Um, but like I said, I'll always say my opinion, whether people agree with me or not. We do things a certain way, and I feel the same about pendulums. I really do, and I know they use them. I know Chris uses them. I know Colleen uses them. I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't because it's like a Ouija board to me. I just think that there's manipulation that could you know subconsciously happen there. You know, that's my opinion. But there was one room in this new place, this old place, that they're like, wait till you see our creepy doll. And they don't really know. They know what we do as far as fundraising and how much money we've raised for all these locations. That they know about us. But I don't think they've ever watched anything we do or saw anything we've done. So the they're like, there's this one doll in this one room that when the kids come through on like field trips, they're all afraid of it. It's a creepy doll. And I said, where's that doll? So during the tour, I'm looking for the doll. And the one thing about this place too, because it wasn't open, I guess when the building's not open, they cover all the displays and the furniture with white sheets, which makes it look like a horror movie. That creeps me out a little all by itself. And we're walking through, and there's white sheets over everything, and I'm like, damn, this reminds me of like those. What were those movies? Insidious, like where the furniture is covered. I think Conjuring did it too, where the furniture is covered or something's covered and then it moves. That freaks me out. So we're walking through and all the furniture is covered, and that's weirded me out. And then we finally, I'm like, where's this doll? I'm looking at other, they had the cloth dolls, and I'm like, yeah, those aren't creepy. I said, none of these dolls are creepy. And they're like, so they leave me in this room, and there's the doll. And yes, it's creepy. And they said, all the school kids, when they come through here, they won't go near this doll. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, well, guess which room John's going to be in when he's in here. But I don't want to say that to them because, you know. But anyway, yeah, really creepy doll in the one room. And again, they claim to see shadows. They claim to feel sensations of both hot and cold. They claim to be poked by who they think is a little boy. And even that this little boy has followed them home and come back to the location. So interesting, very interesting. Anything, like I said, is worth a look. But the fact that it's on a main road is, as far as events, is concerning because we try to do the best we can with the buildings. I mean, Caldwell Parsonage is another example of that. Tight spaces, tight quarters. EVPs are really rough in that building unless you're in the tool museum. But we do the best we can with what we have to deal with. So Barron is the same way, really. We're kind of, you know, we're not separated by a whole lot in those buildings. So, but we've gotten good activity there. That's for sure. In the attic of the Barron and the basement of the Barron, I've gotten good stuff. So, can you guarantee that? No, but last time I was there, uh, I'd like to take the basement again because God, that office, I got so many EVPs, and if you watched that live with Cynthia, we had some interaction. But I really enjoyed being in that basement. But odds are I'll wind up um, in the gallery. And a funny story, if you were at the event last year, was when I got affected, I I did the thing that I always do. Uh, I asked the spirit to light everything up if it doesn't want us to bother or continue on, and um, everything in the room lit up. And it was only 5 minutes into a 40-minute session, and I'm like, oh crap! Now what I do? I only had the one big room to work with, so I apologized and I said, unfortunately, we have to move on, and they did not like that. It directly affected me. I felt sick to my stomach, and I couldn't lose the feeling. So I went outside. I told this story, and I came back in. I immediately got attacked again. It felt like we're going to make you sick, and you're not going to do this. So I know better. This time, I'm not even going to offer the light everything up, and I'll stop. Not even an option. We're just going to do what we do and keep going forward. But yeah, that took me by surprise. First time I ever had to tap out. I don't ever really ever tap out of any investigation. That was probably the first time that I can remember. The Baron, I was there, scary. Yeah, that took me by surprise. I don't like that feeling. Um, the here's the equivalency to what I felt. I get seasick. Um, Even taking Dramamine, if I go out on a boat, I get seasick, and I don't like the motion. Even on a bus, or if I rode buses a lot when I was a kid, we had to. We were poor. We didn't have a car. Um, if you ever try to read on a bus or even in a car, that feeling you get, that nausea feeling, that's what it felt like when whatever attached to me, it was instant. I felt that. And it was just like, oh my God. And I knew it. And in my head, I was just like, why did I do that? Why did I guarantee that we would stop and now? And they just won't leave me alone. So I think I had Danielle take over, I think. But yeah, I won't do that again. No, not there. Now that I know whoever is in that room is capable of that, I won't do that again. No. But two cool places. And between the two of them, um, I'd say the Baron, we've been with them for about 10, 11 years doing fundraisers. We're really good friends with Cynthia and Brandon and George and the Caldwell Parsonage. One of the first places we ever did an event at. I read the story for those who aren't familiar. Hannah Caldwell, and again, when we do the cable access shows, there is one based on the Caldwell Parsonage. Hannah Caldwell was the wife of Reverend James Caldwell, who was very outspoken about the British and during the Revolutionary War. And he went off with the troops to fight, and they were in the area of Connecticut Farms, and which was Union at the time, and he was a ways away. He told her to leave. He said, take the kids and go to our other place, miles away. They're in the area. You shouldn't be around there. And she was like, I'm a lady of the house. They're not going to do anything to me. And she was wrong. I mean, one of her children were by the window. The British soldiers were in the area. There's different stories about whether the British soldier thought it was a sniper or he actually saw her, shot through the window, and she moved the child out of the way. The soldier shot. We heard her body was violated. They looted the house, and then they burned it to the ground, and then they rebuilt it on the same land a couple of years later. So, people ask the question all the time, and it came up yesterday. Are they stuck? And that's a really good question. If you believe spirits can be stuck, what a cruel eternity that would be, to not only pass away, but to be stuck in one place for eternity. If that eternity is you living in your time period with your family as if it's normal every day, then I guess that's okay. But if you're stuck eternity in a building where everything changes through the years and you're witnessing that, and you're seeing the people come in and you're seeing the changes of the building and the people that live there, that would be a really cruel thing. There's a movie. It's not particularly a good movie, but the premise of the movie is pretty good. I think it's called Ghost, actually. And I don't remember the whole movie, but I remember the guy lives there, I think, with his family, and they're happy and everything like that. And he passes. And after he passes, he comes back as a ghost. Only his family can't see him or hear him. And he's there witnessing as, the family moves on with their lives. The daughters get older, the kids get older, the wife meets somebody else, and eventually the whole family moves out. And he's there by himself in this empty house. And you see he's looking out the window to the neighbor's house and what's going on over there. The lights come on, lights go off, and blah, blah, blah. Now another family moves in, and they've got little ones. And he's there with them now for their whole existence, their whole lives. He sees them go from little, the dogs, he sees the animals come and go, they pass. He sees the people move, the tragedy, the happiness, whatever. Eventually, whatever happens with that family, where they eventually move out. And this keeps going on and on. And this spirit is there, just there. He can't interact with any of them. He's just there. And eventually the last family moves out and the building's really in disarray and it needs a lot of repairs and it's just nobody wants to buy it. And they destroy the building to build a new structure. And that's when finally the spirit is able to move on and disappears. Now, if that were true, then that would be really cruel if that were possible. So, in a happier thought, um, can spirits go back and forth? Can they, visit the places that meant something to them as a family and be present together? Um, the word I prefer to use is kind of channeled in, you know, because we go to these places and we're talking about these families and their lives and communicating in rooms that they did eat, sleep, laugh, cry, you know, can we bring them in? Will they come into the building again? Or are they just around and they come and go? It was their house. They lived there forever. Maybe they are there more often than not. I don't know. I don't know any of it. But stuck is a tough one for me, because again, you explain the spirits of Gettysburg on that battlefield, you know, are they stuck? You know, some of them just wander, you know what I mean? Like that's the big question that all of us kind of wonder in this field. Like, is it possible for a spirit? Like, I would think a spirit could get stuck if, and we talked about this before, a lot of people agree in the life review that there is a life review when you pass. You kind of go through your life and you have to kind of face everything you did, good, bad, you know. And um, you would think that some people who believe they've done really bad things to people, you think that killers and stuff would be afraid to get judged, you know. And maybe if there is something that happens where you're like, go to the light or not, they're like, hell no, no way, you know. That I could see, or just not knowing what happened to you. You died in a car wreck and you're like, wait a minute, I'm still around, right? Like, where's my family? Where's, it's weird. I missed that comment. I'm sorry. It was, gave a lot of blood and sweat and tears to the Cardwell since the historic group was able to raise funds to acquire it. He died within the last year. I bet he would show up to talk. Well, that's a name again we could definitely bring up and mention, if they're okay with that, Lauren. I would have to ask them first, but I think I know the person that you're talking about. And again, I would have to check with them if that was okay. Residual is something different. Residual is like just a playback of um, an event, a memory, or yes, a person being in a room and following their pattern, brushing their teeth at 8 o'clock every night, or whatever. You hear the sink, you hear footsteps up there. That could be the residual energy of a spirit that was around for all those years that still is some left behind, or it's just like a tape or an imprint on the land. Um, that was a little rough for me. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I try to think in terms of like an interruption, stone tape theory. I try to think of like what would be the interruption in the process of time to where all of a sudden that part of their lives is like caught on, like you said, caught on tape and just stuck to a location and just repeats on a loop all the time. That's a weird one for me. It is. I get it on some level, but it's a weird one for me because I don't know. I would think if you're hearing, like I said, footsteps upstairs in the bathroom every night at 8 o'clock, um, rather than thinking that's residual, maybe again, it's a spirit with OCD who has to come back to his bathroom his own bathroom every night and just do his routine or her routine. I don't know. Residual is a weird one for me, but then again, it's all weird, I guess, if you think about it. So, like I said, tomorrow 6:30. Try to get there on time. I know the early group. I don't think the early group consists of anybody here. Um, Usually, the first group consists of the board members, friends, and family. I think they sell those tickets to the first group because we see a lot of the same people in the first group, and they all know each other. Second group is, the people that come to our events. So just try to be there on time because again, there's not a lot of time in between, especially in the first one. We can't run late for the first one because the second one's going to start and we need to get going on that second session. So just even at the Baron, just try to show up on time because the later we start, the later it's not fair to the people who are there on time if we're starting and we're waiting 5-10 minutes for other. I get traffic and all that. I do, but try to show up on time. Parallel worlds, and they show up when we show up. Again, I don't know about any of those concepts. Could the afterlife be another dimension and another quote unquote world? Yeah, I think that's what the idea of heaven is. If we break it down to quantum physics and just science, then we would think that the afterlife is a place where transition beings, spirits, whatever we are after this, yeah, that's the world where they then are and exist. Yeah, that I believe. We got into all this stuff yesterday. We were there for 3 hours and it was literally just, we talked about everything and anything. And the lecture, the library lecture we're doing this year, um, I enjoy the haunted building stuff. I enjoy have a good night, Kathy. I enjoy the haunted object stuff. So I decided to mix it. So they're sort of best of footage from both. And we'll talk about both. And we'll talk about other stuff. And we'll do Q&A. We'll have different subjects that we talk about. And again, I have to talk to Donna, but hopefully I'm going to bring some objects with me to the library lectures just because I do like freaking people out. I got to admit. We did the Clark one last year. Clark Cable Access TV was there filming it, and I had a microphone the whole time. And the funny thing was the microphone wasn't for the PA system, in the library. It was for just specifically for the TV. That's all it was for, just the TV station. So I'm talking into the mic and, it was for the TV. So I used the mic during the whole presentation around the haunted objects. And at the end of the presentation, the director, I'm like, here. And he's like, no. I'm like, here. And he's like, no. I said, you don't want your mic? He said, I'm going to leave that here for about 3 or 4 days before I come back to it. I don't want to touch it. Because I had it and I was holding the haunted objects and I put it on the table with the haunted objects. He was completely freaked and didn't want to touch it. Same with Ben from Channel 11. We did, the piece with Ben from Channel 11 for 3 years in a row. And we had a great time with Ben. And I reached out to Ben this year and I'm like, hey, we're either going to do the mine or we're going to do Burlington Prison, either a haunted jail or a haunted mine. Take your pick. And he said, John, I'll be brutally honest with you. I was freaked out the first time. I was freaked out the second time. But I was so freaked out the third time after going to Camp Evans and having stuff happen in my home at night that I I think we're just not going to do this because I'm too worried. He won't do it anymore. And I assured him, that we could help him and protect him and all that other stuff. But no, still freaked out that he won't do it anymore. So that's that. It happens. I mean, you guys know. I mean, if you do this and you go out there and there are experiences that shake you, here's the thing. And again, we talk about this a lot. If you believe in attachments and you believe you can get an attachment and the spirit can connect to you and follow you home and do whatever, in theory, you should never buy an antique. You should never walk through a cemetery, and you should never go into an old historic building, because odds are they're probably present in those areas. The odds are that there is at least one spirit around. So you could, in theory, get an attachment from anywhere if you believe in attachments. I do, but I don't believe they can stay with you. I believe that eventually they go back to where they originated from, the object, the building. I believe that because I've seen it for myself, on myself. So that's just my opinion. But I get that people fear that, which is why, again, we preach at all of our events now. If there's anything you want to do as far as protection, cross, holy water, prayer, empowering yourself, whatever your beliefs are, do that to protect yourself. Because again, you should, if that's what you believe in, because you never know. We joke all the time that our waivers at some events, are protecting us from if something were to follow you home, but it's never happened ever. Knock on wood. Please, I hope it doesn't happen this weekend or next weekend. But I just don't believe that that's possible for a spirit to stay with you that way. And I don't believe in demons, so I don't believe in that kind of stuff either. But anyway, tomorrow night, again, if you're coming to Caldwell, we'll see you. 2 sessions. Saturday, we'll see you at the Baron. Always a good time at the Baron. 2 different buildings, 2 different stories, different spirits around both buildings. The one in the attic of the Baron gets a little weird sometimes and could do some weird stuff. And then Sunday we film at Smith Cadbury for the piece we're doing with Weekend Filler. So Chris handed me the schedule here, and again, this is October, so you get an idea of all of October. So I mean, there's stuff penciled in. That's the whole month. That's literally leading up to the expo. So like I said, Smith Cadbury, Camp Evans with Jawan, which should be awesome. 16th October is the Trenton Library, which I think I posted the link for. 19th, Sterling Mine. Clark Library, 22nd. Linden Library, I think the 29th. A lot coming up. And the expo. Please make plans to come to the expo and support that, because we put so much work into that. And again, we just want people to come and enjoy it and meet all the people and have a good time and meet other people. So if you can, make plans November 2nd and 3rd to be in Woodbridge at New Jersey Power Unity. So next week, today's Thursday, so we'll wrap it up on Monday as far as everything that happened over the weekend, Smith Cadbury, all the events. Tuesday night will be the live, maybe the investigation from the German club. So that should be around 8 o'clock. I would imagine 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then maybe Thursday, or Wednesday, the Creeper Gallery again. It depends on how we feel after doing all that. But busy. All right, guys. So hopefully I see some of you this weekend. If not, we will see you again on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll see if we can get the superstar on with us on Monday. All right. Have a good night, everyone.